Hmm. So is this film better than A.R. Murugadoss's previous venture Sikandar? Let's find out. Hi guys, this is Farhad and welcome back to my channel Popcorn Reviews. If you're new to this channel, then please smash that subscribe button now. And as a video ritual, remember to like and comment on the video. Liking and commenting helps fuel the YouTube algorithm. And today, the film that we are going to be discussing is the new Tamil film called Madharaasi, which is starring Sivakarthikeyan, Vidyut, Jammwal, and directed by A.R. Murugadoss. Now, this year has not been the best for A.R. Murugadoss. In fact, the last previous few years haven't been the best. We haven't yet seen peak A.R. Murugadoss, something that we saw in his previous films like Gajini, for example. Now, there is something about that suspension of disbelief that would divide the viewers, particularly when it comes to films on celluloid. Some people will look for logic and say, oh, this is nonsense, this can't happen, it's illogical, it's silly. And the other section is that, I don't really mind it, and if it's done really well, then, what's the problem in that? As far as that is concerned, the same argument, A.R. Murugadoss has to be one of those unique filmmakers who actually handpicks some of the most illogical plot points but makes it so believable that you are actually invested in the story. You can take the examples of Gajini, or you can take the example of, say, Holiday, a film that was made in Hindi from the Tamil film Tukkapatti. Both these films that are there, they actually have a suspension of disbelief here, but so grounded in its filmmaking style that you actually invariably are invested in the story. And that is something that I experienced in the film Madharaasi as well, his new latest outing. It's not a perfect film. I have my points wherein I could see the flaws in the film as well. But at the same time, I did see some, glimpses of brilliance from A.R. Murugadoss in this film, which his mask done almost right. This is one of those films that I'm literally on the fences. I can't say that I completely dislike the film, but I can't say I completely love the film as well. I like the film, I didn't mind the film, but it was just about that. So coming to the story and screenplay, there are multiple ways in which you can view Madharaasi, the film, which the film is. Firstly, it is just a simple story which is of an individual who is literally nominated to undergo a covert suicide operation simply because he just wants to commit suicide in the first place. There is a guns nexus that is going on, a guns, you can say, distribution that is going on in the state, and therefore the character of Sivakarthikeyan, which is played by Raghu, he is nominated for the same. Now, as I said, there are multiple ways to look at it. One of them can be an origin story of a superhero. It's a superhero origin story in a way. Just hear me out. Again, it's a far-fetched concept, but such are the concepts of A.R. Murugadoss that you can't help but read between the subtext to find some analysis of it. Here, first of them is a superhero origin story, not like Loka. Loka was, a different kind of a superhero film which is dipped in folklore. This is more on the lines of Maaveeran, you can say, which is again starring Sivakarthikeyan. So here, when you are introduced to the character of Sivakarthikeyan, the first scene involves, that he's almost about to, jump off from the edge of a flyover, basically, and the tone is slightly humorous. You would say, oh, it's a mass masala film, comedy is a part of it, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But when you are slowly invested in the character, you get to know that this character is actually suffering from a delusional depression kind of a state, a delusional depression which actually stems from the fact that he's lost his parents in an accident. Now, this incident has also, come in the form of a blessing, so to say, for him, because it creates a superpower for him, wherein he gets this violent bouts, wherein either he can utilize it to save somebody, or he can utilize it almost like a vigilante of sorts. This is like a superpower that he has in the film. So in that sense, this can be termed as a superhero origin story also. Now, the conflict in this is when he falls in love. His love interest here is Malti, which is played by Rukmani Vasant. You would remember her from Sapta Sagara Hello, Side A, Side B. And so the question that the makers want to ask basically is that would love, have the ability to take away everything from an individual that makes you unique in the first place? In this case, you see his superpowers getting diminished in a scene where you just see him as a bystander to some event that is happening in front of his eyes. Typically, he would actually participate in the event, either separate them and fight it out, or save that person. Something he would do, but he's just standing on the sidelines and he's just looking at it. So that is the question that it leaves you with. This is one side of the story. The other side that you can view this narrative is from a political angle. Now, how is it a political film? It's very subtle in its commentary, so to say. It's not as if it's power dynamics that you would see something in a film like, say, Gajini or even Akira, for example, wherein there is a power tussle that is going on between the powerful and the not so powerful, which is there. Here, it's more on the good versus evil template, but the title of the film, which is there, Madharaasi, it actually is a commentary on the local flavor of local, you can say, unique traits of the state, you can say, and it's almost referred to as a colloquial term with outsiders, you can say. So normally, it's almost like a stereotype when people from other states almost refer to the people from Tamil Nadu as Madharaasi, it's like Madharaasi. But here it's a dual meaning here. It's almost like taking it like in an individual sense and retaining the individualism of the state without getting corrupted with external forces here. Or it's also about the colloquial term, which in this case is there are a bunch of North Indians who are having an illegal arms distribution which is taking place, which is a direct political reference to the politics that is taking place in the north versus what it is in the south in current times. This is how I've interpreted it. It's not so much in your face, so you'll have to read the subtext here with certain dialogues here and there which are sprinkled. It's not exactly that the way it's almost in your face. No, it's not that kind of a film. So here you are introduced to the characters of Virat and Chirag, which is played by Vidyut, Jammwal and Shabir, and they are the part of that syndicate who are in that illegal arms distribution. And here you also are introduced, they are pitted against the NIA officers, which is played by Biju Menon, the Malayalam actor Biju Menon, and his son is also there called Vikrant. His character's name is Sandeep. So this is a typical good versus evil kind of a template with a political flavor in between. Now, one of the highlights of the film has to be the interval block, in which the character of Raghu plays a middleman and almost as a bridge between the two stakeholders that he finds himself a part of. It has a nice little texture of humor also in the narrative, and it also ends with a nice little twist that sets up things well for the second hour. But this is where the but comes in. The second hour slightly dips, it's almost, and I'll tell you the reason why it dips. The reason is that it becomes this one elongated block of action set piece which is there, one set piece after another, after another, after another. Yes, I wouldn't say it's a train wreck. It is completely watchable. It is watchable for sure. But if you look closely, look at the writing here. It spreads itself really thin. There's nothing that the writing is, unfolding or, taking it forward in a way. There are little equations or an exposition of moles from both the sides, as to what exactly is happening. But, and that is again decently thrilling. But at the same time, it also gets repetitive with its kind of format that is doing, and so it adds minutes to a punishable runtime of 2 hours and 48 minutes, almost a 3-hour runtime. Easily 20 minutes could have been chopped off and put it on the edit table just to be left out from the film. But what this does is that there are moments of thrills for sure, I would say. There's a little revenge subplot as well, but it is emotionally devoid, and that is the biggest problem that I had in the second hour, because there was no emotion driving it, despite there being elements in the screenplay that would contribute to this factor. And I think that was a little bit of a drawback as far as I am concerned. I wasn't too happy, particularly after the setup. Imagine the things that I've said in this video. It's an origin superhero story, it can be a political angle to it also. None of them really have a proper payoff in the second half, which gets into a stereotypical kind of a mode. Again, it's watchable. I wouldn't go as far as saying that something like a Coolie, which completely became like a travesty in the second hour as to what exactly is happening. There were cameos flung in the narrative. All of that is not the case here. It pretty much sticks to what it is, but just the writing could have had that little more of an impact, with a slightly more fizz to it, you can say, with respect to the emotional core which is there. Although the action set pieces are pretty good, I also had a little issue with how the final face off was. It kind of felt a little bland, but still, I would still say that the screenplay still manages to decently impress. I wouldn't completely go all out gaga and saying, oh, it's the best theatre going experience or the best Tamil film. It's kind of that year that the Tamil film industry is having, which is not scoring hugely with the, in terms of quality is what I'm saying. I don't care about the box office, but in terms of the quality, the bigger films are not really coming to that quality standard which is there, but the smaller ones are really good. I mean, outstanding smaller ones which are there. And this kind of breaks this trend, but not exactly as well. It's this in between kind of this film that I happen to like, but it just didn't bloom to its full potential as far as the story and screenplay is concerned. Now, coming to the technical aspects, the dialogues, the music, and the direction. The dialogues, I think, navigate through the beats of the screenplay really well, and I think that I have to give it to the lines very well. It was in sync without getting completely outrageous at any point. I don't remember any moment in that. The music by Anirudh, the music and the BGM by Anirudh, I think this is an interesting point, because there are two ways to look at the music. One is, Anirudh's music, which would overpower something that is going on in screen, and it would completely take over, the sequences or the entries or the characters which are there, or something like here, in which you would almost erupt. The score would just erupt when it is needed. It's not overpowering in any way. It is just there to elevate the drama at certain instances. So which one would you prefer? And this is where it becomes a little subjective. Again, I'm somewhere in the middle here. I don't completely take either of the sides. I always am of the opinion that the BGM should not overpower it. Okay, but here a little more fizz would not have helped again. A little more push in some sequences would have added that little spice to the mix, or little salt to food, you can say. And I think that was this in between kind of a narrative. Some of the sequences in the second hour especially has some good BGM, I would say, but this could have also been a consistent trait in the first hour as well. So it's just me. I mean, it's just this in between kind of this film that also has in between kind of a music. The cinematography is actually good here, and I will say it that the action set pieces that are shot are far more superior than the ones that were showcased in Baghi 4, a video that I'm going to make either tomorrow or day after, so stick by that. Baghi 4 was something. But the cinematography is good here. Editing, as I said, could have been a little tighter. I mean, in the second hour it just got a little meandering and added minutes to it, without the emotional core which was in place. Director A.R. Murugadoss, I think A.R. Murugadoss did a good job here. I must give him, because that Sikandar debacle was really something. I mean, it was such an unlike A.R. Murugadoss film that I actually felt that this might be the last that we've seen of him, at least in Hindi, and in terms of quality as well, is what I was suspecting. Glad that is not the case. Madharaasi, he makes a little mini comeback with Madharaasi, I would say. It's not a perfect film, but the direction is still good. He still manages to make it watchable, particularly in the second half. First half is definitely good, but particularly the directorial traits are evident in the second half, when the writing isn't it's just running too thin for me. So that is when, if the film becomes watchable, I think a credit also goes to the director here. A.R. Murugadoss does a good job. I think the only missing link in his direction was the emotional core, as I said. That needed to be a little more in the second hour to be completely engaging for me. And this is a personal opinion, okay? I mean, everyone can love it, and that's fine. For people who would enjoy masala mass movies, would probably enjoy the second hour. I wouldn't disregard that. And it's a misnomer that I don't enjoy mass movies. I love mass movies if they are done well, and this is nearly done well, I would say. Let's put it there. Coming to the performances, I think the performances are really solid as well, I would say. Some of the performances like Siddharth Shankar, or some of the other performances, I think they really stand out in this film. Rukmani Vasant also has a pleasant personality on screen. She does a good job here. Shabir, I think, is very intimidating and does a really good job. Biju Menon is very understated and uses his stoic expressions perfectly, never over the top and to the point. I think that is what you would expect from a Biju Menon performance, and Biju Menon, I think, does an incredible job here, wonderful job here. Even Vikrant as Sandeep has his moments to shine, does decently well. Vidyut Jammwal probably has to be the finest action star of this country. I think I rate him better than Tiger Shroff as well, because of the variety that he brings to the table. Here I think he does a pretty solid job in the action sequences that are there. He's fluid, absolutely a dream, and there are few things that you would actually look to when he's absolutely in full form, and I think he does a pretty good job here. Although I did feel that he's a little underutilized here. You could have added him in a little more action sequences, action set pieces, and it would have been even more fun probably in the second half. Bring him out a little early from the twist that was there in the film, but nevertheless I think he's done a pretty good job, even with the scenes that required him to be intimidating. Let's put it this way, he does a solid job here. I am a certified fan of Sivakarthikeyan. I think he's one of the unique stars that the Tamil film industry boasts of, who slowly made his mark into the A-League. And I think this film will probably establish his position as a star, because I think he does such an incredible job here. He is one actor who's versatile as well. He can dance, he can emote, he can do comedy, he can do anything. You can even act goofy but also act macho at the same time. There's a variety that Sivakarthikeyan brings to the table, while having a very affable personality on screen, and I think he does a wonderful job here as well. I was pretty happy with his performance. I think this was his first major commercial film, so to say. I think he was a part of smaller ones like Doctor or Maviran. I think Maviran was also in a way a turning point, you would say, in his career, but this was the first A-League kind of a film, and I think he's delivered. He's smashed it out of the park. And if the film is watchable, it's also because of Sivakarthikeyan's screen presence, I would say, in the second hour. Yes, as I said, the first hour is good, it's solid. Second hour is where the film little meanders, but it still somehow holds together and makes it for a satisfactory watch at the end. I'm not too disappointed about Madharaasi. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it as well. So Madharaasi overall for me is a good film. It's a good film. It's a good mass masala entertainer film. Better than Coolie, I would say, and that's, I think, also one of the pluses for me, because Coolie didn't work for me. Anyway, I'm happy that this film has made a mark in the mass masala genre, because this genre is slowly getting a little repetitive, and I'm glad also that A.R. Murugadoss has made his mark. If you're liking this video, remember to smash that like button, or alternately dislike it as well. You can comment on what did you make of the film. Did you like it? Did you not like it? How was your theatre going experience? I would like to know from my friends from the Tamil, in my playlist. I would say that in my subscriber list, I would say that whoever is fan of Tamil cinema can let me know what was your theatre going experience. Did you love it? Did you not like it? And what was the scene like at your end? Because here in Mumbai, I think it was a little quiet, but otherwise it was still a pretty solid film. You can also share this video with your friends and family. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. Let's grow this Digi family together. You can also read my detailed review of Madharaasi on my site, Popcorn Reviews with a double S, the link of which is in the description box below. Follow me on different social media platforms. You know the drill: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Lex, and Letterboxd, Nokia, anything. All information is in the description box below. I do not end up making a video on everything that I watch, but I do write a lot. All information is present on my site and on my social media handles, so you can visit them. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever you like. I'll see you again soon with another video, this time of the film Baghi 4, either tomorrow or day after. That is another battle in itself. I need to get it off my chest, but in the meantime, I enjoyed Madharaasi and it's a good watch. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for your continued love and support on the videos that I have made previously in the last week. So thank you so much. Cheers everyone.